Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc., the show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. Relax, the keyboard is off and the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up. Join your host, Lance Green, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer, and your co-host, Ron, SteelFlyers, as we bring you all the latest on the Philadelphia Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of the Hockey Writers Inc. with your host, Ron, SteelFlyers. Hey, folks, how you doing? Oh, my gosh, we got a special show for you tonight, man. We got a very, very special guest sitting in here with us tonight. And, man, I'll tell you what, I can't wait. How about that, folks? Pearlo Wisdom is back on the show.
Yeah,
Holy smokes! Oh, my gosh. By the way, if y'all don't know who this man is, let me just clue you in. Pearlo Wisdom is part of the Ice Guys, who are considered the best sports cappers in all North America. And he is one of the main man pots and pans on that outfit right there. So go check them guys out, the Ice Guys, for sure, for sure. Pearlo, it's been far, far too long. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing excellent, man. It's been quite the journey,
Yep.
and it's nice to be back with you again, getting
Yeah.
into some great hockey discussion. We're talking about the draft today, and
Yeah,
it's one
man.
of my favorite times of the year. I take
Exactly.
time off from everything, turn off my phone, don't bother calling me, don't bother asking me for anything. If anybody ain't dying, then I ain't coming to see you. I love the draft, man.
Oh
So
man, I'll tell you, I'm you and me both, man. I'm super excited. But first of all, let's break some things down here for you, folks. We would like to say big thank you to Jake and the boys from lowercaseblues.net. Hop on over to lowercaseblues.net. Check out Jake and the boys, man. Big thank you for the intro music that they did. You got to check them out, man. Lowercaseblues.net. Check out that site where you can get all their great swag, check out their tour dates, and they got a new album out, and check out some cool videos. Check out lowercaseblues.net. Check them out. Also, thank you for Spreaker and all the things that they do to help get us out to all the podcasting platforms out there. All you have to do is type in Hockey Writers Inc. and you will come up and you see our name, and all you have to do is give us a 5-star rating, and we'd really appreciate that. By the way, thank you for doing that, folks. We are a top 10 ranked Philadelphia Flyers centric podcast. That's right, folks. Ranked number 10 in all of Philadelphia Flyers podcasts, the Hockey Writers Inc. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that, appreciate that. So, here we go, folks. Episode number 196. Big trades just at the beginning here for the Philadelphia Flyers, of the draft is just around the corner here, and big trades are happening here for the Flyers. And we got to talk a little bit about that. And I brought in a expert, if you will, to talk about Philadelphia Flyers, about the draft, and about what we kind of think about the trade that happened and everything like that. So let's do that, Steve. Let's talk about that first right off, right? Philadelphia Flyers the other day traded Ryan Poehling for Trevor Zegras to the Anaheim Ducks. They also let go a 2025 fourth round pick and a 2026 fifth round pick to Anaheim for Trevor Zegras and, of course, Ryan Poehling. So, what is your initial reaction to that one there, Pearlo?
well, it's interesting. I mean, Poehling's he's a good third line center, no doubt
Yeah,
about that. And a lot of teams, it might be a fourth line center. He had a good offensive year last year, though.
yeah,
Given the opportunity, he's one of those guys who just seems to find a way to be part of a team any way you can, whether it's potting a couple, maybe getting physical. He tries to be as good defensively as he can. I mean, he's not really he's a jack of all trades type guy, and you're never going to question Poehling's heart. That's for sure.
that's
That's one
true.
thing you'll never question about it.
You know who he reminds me of? Scott Lawton.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, yeah,
Has the
yeah,
same kind of game, same kind of
yeah,
body style, same kind of,
yeah.
production or lack of or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though he did have a good offensive year this past year,
Yeah.
right? But we also got clear of some cap space money too because he just signed an extension,
Yeah.
right, for a couple years, and so his cap basically goes away, and then Trevor Zegras is in for a 1 year. The rest of his remaining deal is only 1 year left on his deal, right?
Yeah.
And then he becomes a
Restricted.
restricted free agent at the end of next season, right? So we know that Trevor Zegras comes with a little bit of baggage. He's got some of that, injury kind of issue thing going on. He's also potentially got some other issues going on. But I want to know what your thoughts are on this whole Zegras thing here to Philadelphia.
I think it's a boom or bust type of thing. I don't think complete bust. I don't think Zegras is ever going to be a complete bust.
Right.
Zegras has got too much talent to be a complete bust.
Right.
And he's in Anaheim. Obviously, they never saw him as a center, and I think that's really what the heart of this thing was the discrepancy between the team and him is for one thing, if you're a player and you were drafted as a center, where the money is playing center. So he's going to want if he thinks he's a center, and you can't really fault a guy for wanting to be the best or thinking he is the best he can be, and
Right.
he wants and wanting to be the best that he can be. And I think there was a little bit of a issue there. Also, as you mentioned, there was some things his. Let's just put it out there. His maturity has seemed to be an issue for ever since he was in college, all of those sort of things. And by maturity, I'm not putting the kid down, the
No.
guy down. It's everybody matures into a man at different timing. Now, what I think Philadelphia sees here, his hands are amazing. He's got a great shot. Not the best skater in the world, but he's not terrible either. And he's got all the offensive tools that you want. He's just when you see him at his best days, he just is so enticing. You want to? It's like, come on, man, I want that guy on my team. And then he has other days where maybe it's not so much. And his 3-zone defensive play, it's got a lot of work to do. All of those sort of things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is my guess. This is my guess. I don't know. I don't have any inside information on this. I think there's been a lot of talk about with Zegras' agent and so on and so forth because he's sitting at about 5.5. When he becomes a restricted, they're going to have to owe him at least a qualifying offer, which is going to push him up to 6 something or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So I think between him and his, I think they went to his agent and said, "Look, we see a lot of potential in this boy, no doubt about it. Great potential. Here's the thing. Let's get down to brass tacks here. These are we don't mind, and they're obviously. I was going to say Poehling is a good third line guy, fourth line on some teams, couple draft picks for a kid who was drafted 10th overall,
Ninth.
Ninth. Let's face it, not the greatest return for Anaheim. Okay.
No.
So that let's face it, it's not the greatest return. So what does that tell you?
Okay, but let me argue this fact. Giving away the 45th overall pick with this draft being as deep as it is, and a lot of people are thinking that this draft isn't as deep as it is, and I disagree with that.
Okay.
I think there is a lot of kids that are going to come out of this draft. Look, just because there's not the generational, Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid in this draft, there's just too many players in this draft on all sides of the ice and in net that are going to be good quality starting NHL players as far as I'm concerned. And that's what I mean by this draft being deep. Okay. To where you're going to be able to get a guy still in the 4th or 5th round. He might be 2 or 3 years away, but he's going to be able to contribute to the team as a starting player, is what I'm trying to get to.
I don't disagree with you. I think the perception of not being deep is what they mean is after you get past about 20 to the 3rd round, there's not much separation. So a a lot of these guys in the late first are going to be looking to try to trade down into the seconds because
Yeah,
you can get a similar player down there as they are here.
yeah,
That's what I mean by that kind of deep, right?
yeah,
So, well, what I'm saying is like it's not the greatest return for Anaheim if you had a lot of teams interested in a kid that's as young as he is. You know, he didn't have the
yeah,
greatest year last year, but he has put up some points that you probably would have. And I think that had a lot to do with the fact that the kid wanted to play center. So I think that they went to him and said, look, this is the way it's going to be. Okay. Or this is the way we'd like it to be. We believe in the kid, but if we don't see the results, we're going to go this way. Well, we're probably going to only give him a qualifying offer. If you start asking us for $9 or $10 million or something for this kid, then we're not making the deal. And out there, there's really not any. There's not too many teams that believe in this kid to be a center, and we're going to give him a shot. So what do you say? You know. So
yeah.
they kind of went because Philly really, it's not easy to get centers in the where they're drafting a lot of the time right now,
Go
and
figure.
they don't really have those centers, you know, they're coming up. Well, what's his name? Lachenko.
Lachenko. Yeah,
Lachenko could be one of those guys. But so I think it just worked for Philly to give the kid a shot. And um, just because a kid is taking a while to mature, how many times have we seen players? There's lots of players. Travis Green. Remember Travis Green? Even he himself says, before I was 27 years old, I would not have wanted to coach me. After
yep,
27, I would have. And he was not that. He took off around 26,
yep.
27.
Hey, it
And
just
there's
takes some
lots of
guys
guys.
a little longer, you know?
And I think what you're saying, okay, what I think a guy like Rick Tocchet, forget about his playing coaching style on the ice all you want. I think one thing he is really good at is his character and helping people bring out the character, maturing players in that way.
Not going to disagree with you on that
Yeah,
at all.
that's what I think the
Yeah,
main reason for Tocchet being there is right now. Not
yeah,
just for Zegras, but for all these guys.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nobody
Okay.
can. I don't think anybody would say that Rick Tocchet is not a good person when it comes to helping people have character and having character
Right.
himself.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% on that.
So they're hoping that all of that goes together, and this kid, if he matures,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see like they just hit pay dirt on that kid, like pay dirt. I think they did really well. Do
I
you,
mean, I
are you
listened to,
asking me if he's going to or not?
yeah, right, yeah.
I don't have a crystal ball, but
Yeah. I listened to both the Briere press conference about the Trevor Zegras trade, and he said this was something that they've been having to be patient about, something that they probably wanted to do ever since they brought in Jamie Drysdale. You know what I mean? I think that was something that Philadelphia's been working on now for the last 2 years. He even said that in this press conference too. Danny Briere said that we have been kind of, coveting this guy for a while, and at one point when we could do things, they couldn't do things, and it just worked out that they were able to both do things at the same time this time around. And so I
oh,
was like, well, all right, okay. And then listen to the press conference of Trevor Zegras, and you can definitely tell that he feels like, just based off of what he said, he feels like it just seems like there's a weight lifted off of him now, leaving that Anaheim behind and now getting a fresh start here in Philadelphia, a fresh chance. He's back with his buddy. He
yeah,
also spent time with Cam York because Cam York is a California guy, right? So they all
oh,
spent time together. Cam York did, along with Jamie Drysdale and along with Trevor Zegras. So I mean,
should be interesting to see how
should
that
be
plays.
interesting for sure. As far as I'm concerned, this is basically a high upside with low cost for Philadelphia. Okay.
Yeah,
You didn't really give that much up. I mean, you gave up another Scott Lawton, which I think either a Jet Lachenko or a Richard or somebody that's coming up from through the system might slot in to fill that role. Do you know what I
It's a
mean?
fillable. It's a fillable role. For sure.
Exactly. You know, a third line center or a third line player is a little easier to get than a 1C or a 2C.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, all right. Well, so now that's the next question I got for you. So,
Mhm.
if they are going to try him at center, are they going to make him the 1C or the 2C? So, I mean, like, who do you put him with? Do you put him with Mitchkov and Konechny? Or I mean, who do you put on the wing with him?
That's a tough one because I think you got to give them every opportunity to succeed right away.
Yeah,
You're probably going to throw them up there on the top line.
on the top line.
I have
Yeah.
a feeling. I have a feeling for the first 10 or 15 games or so, Rick Tocchet's just going to let these guys fly and get confident, and you're going to see some high-scoring games and stuff like that. Just, you know what, you guys figure each other out offensively, and then they'll slowly start building a defensive mechanism, especially
Finally,
after Tortorella's way. Tell Tortorella, it's
handcuffed
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, it's not like what Tortorella is trying to do is not what you're supposed to do, but sometimes you got to let guys have some fun and just go out there and figure
When
each
it's
other out.
not fun, when you make it not fun, and I think that's what happened with Tortorella.
Yeah,
I think he made it not fun.
yeah,
Okay, he made it more. That's just my opinion. Okay, I, I
yeah.
don't
We'll
I
get
don't
into
think it's
that
fun at all.
maybe some of that because my affinity for John. I love
And
John.
I look, and I even came out and admitted that I was wrong. That because I was not a fan of Tortorella coming in to coach the Philadelphia Flyers, but I came in and
Yeah,
admitted after his first year that he was absolutely the perfect coach to come in and coach Philadelphia because of the attitude that he had, the way he protects his players, and the things that he does uh, with the team and for the team. It's
yeah.
just that I think that Torts has that 3 or 4 year shelf life.
I think he thought he could do what they were wanting to do, and then found out he can't. The
Well,
guy just
when they got rid of Scott Lawton, I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back for Tortorella.
he just cannot think of the game in a losing capacity. He just
Correct.
can't.
Yes.
This, he cannot do it. He
Nope.
thought he could, but he can't. He just
Can't.
can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really what it comes right down to. Once the
I
losing
I
starts
agree.
happening, he just can't handle it. So he
I agree.
tried, didn't work. Move on. That's the way it
All
is.
right. Well, okay.
Uh,
So I think we can put that to bed here a little bit, but I want to touch
yeah,
here a little bit on a quick little preview here because Philadelphia is in a very unique situation here. In 2 days' time, they're going to be able to select
yeah,
3 picks here in the first round.
yeah, yeah,
They have the sixth pick, sixth overall, 22nd overall, and 31st overall. I think it is right
yeah.
from the Oilers. Right. Okay. So
Mhm.
everybody's got their mock drafts. Everybody's got their predictions. What's
Yeah,
yours? So if you were
yeah.
Philadelphia, you're Danny Briere, and you get the 6th pick, who do you like? Who do you think's going to be available? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, okay. Let's go with the who's going to be available part first.
Yeah, let's
How's
try that.
that?
Who's going to be available?
Let's try that. Okay.
Okay.
Um, from what I'm seeing, there's one little aspect of me for what I do for a living is there's one aspect that books, as they're called, do really good at is they seem to know who's going to get drafted. Okay.
Yeah.
Number one, it's Schaefer. There's no doubt about that.
Agreed.
And number two, there's talk that maybe that San Jose is looking at another plan. I'll talk him here in a bit. And I didn't know who I liked until I found out how well he was defensively. And I think number two is without a doubt Michael Misa.
Yep.
Apparently, he looks like it's questionable whether he's going to be a center. I hear most people think that I know that are really knowledgeable about this put him in like the Fiala Kempe type era,
Yeah.
area,
Yeah.
somewhere around,
Okay. All right. I'm
somewhere
feeling
around that.
that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Not too bad.
For
Okay.
Chicago, I'm almost positive that it's going to be Anton Frundell.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Because first of all, he's raw defensively, but he has the mind for it. He just hasn't been taught it, and I think he's going to be really good. By the way, two-way players are going to be of huge value moving forward. A lot
All day long.
more than high point totals. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't think so, look at the Florida Panthers. That's the model now that everybody's going for.
and
So Frondell is sort of like
amazingly, the plus minus is coming into play. Imagine that.
yeah, I mean, it's even deeper than that. It's getting like
No, but you know what I mean, though.
The Florida Panthers spend you would be unbelievable amount of money on some of the brightest analytics people in the game, and they have been for a long time. So they know they really go that direction a lot.
Yeah.
But I'll go into that some other day. But I'm only saying that because it applies to what I'm saying here. There's two adjectives that I hear all the time when talking about Frondell: fierce and menacing in the offensive zone. When those words start popping out about a player nowadays, when you're looking at guys like Bennett, Chuck, guys like that are winning, can almost be assured they're going to get a high priority. So I think Frondell is going to be number 3. Number 4, questionable, whether a lot of talk about that Utah is going to move on here. And you're getting, man, it's all over the table. Some people are saying Hagen. Some people are saying Deone. Some people are saying, I've heard McQueen even that high, or Martone. I think it would be Martone. I think Martone's probably going to go somewhere there. I think they need that size. That he's not really as physical as a lot of as people would like, but he's got good size. He's a great playmaker.
Yeah.
His skating isn't very good apparently. He's getting compared. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as these guys like Stone and guys like that.
Agreed. Yeah.
So,
Agreed. Okay.
so that's what he's getting compared. So,
Okay.
then you have the Nashville Predators, and I think from everything I'm hearing, Deone seems to be the one that's been popping out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been seeing too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Deone. The X factor is the next guy here, and that is Brady Martin. So that would be Philadelphia. Jake O'Brien is a guy that I really love just for his attitude, personality, compete, and all of those sort of things like that. But
Yeah.
you're asking me now who I think they're going to pick and who I want them to pick. And we've been talking about this before. I love Aitchison. I just absolutely love this kid.
Yeah.
He's down at 11. I honestly am not worried about whether they need a center. They are they got Zegras, so they're giving him a shot there right now. Philadelphia is in no hurry whatsoever, really. There shouldn't be, anyways. That's the guy I would pick.
Yes.
That's the guy I would pick. Personally, myself, that's who I would pick.
Me.
I think it's possible. I mean, there's Brady Martin's been moving up the board. If they're still trying to keep on attack that center position, I could see them picking that. I don't see them taking Hagens. I don't know why. I just don't. I'm not feeling Hagens.
Really?
And I think part of that has to do with the fact that I believe Hagens wants so badly to be an Islander that the Islanders are likely going to move up in this draft, and there's not too many people that mind them moving up. That people are afraid that if they sign him, he's not going to be very happy, and then he likely will just play out his contracts and go play with the Islanders anyways. That's what I'm hearing anyways. So
okay.
I think Aitchison, and if that's who I like, and the one that if I think it's most possible there for me would be either Martin or O'Brien, one of the two.
Okay. Okay.
What do you think?
I absolutely mirror exactly what you said, Perlo. I absolutely would personally, me myself, would take Kayshawn Aitchison in our other show, Prospect Watch. Hop on over to steelflyers.com/link/Prospect Watch show to check that out, where you can see the interview that we did with Kayshawn Aitchison. And I got to tell you, that kid has got Philadelphia Flyer written all over him. I,
Mhm.
I don't care about offense when you play defense.
And he's not
Okay.
bad offensively, by the way. He had 26 goals.
Led the team defensively in goals and everything. Okay. But I, like I said off camera, when we talked to Kayshawn, he said that coach would come to him and say, we need you to take out Porter Martone. And Porter Martone would not show up on the stat sheet that game. Okay.
Mhm.
And they'd say, hey, we need you to go up against Michael Misa. And Michael Misa wouldn't have any stats on the stat sheet for that game. That's the
Yeah.
kind of guy that Philadelphia needs right now is
Yeah.
Kayshawn Aitchison. Who I think they're going to take is probably Martin or O'Brien. And I would not have a problem with either of them. I wouldn't
No.
have a problem with Hagens. Would not have a problem with him at
No.
all. At all. I
No.
would love that. If he's still on the board by the
Yeah.
time 6th pick comes around and they don't select him,
Well, actually, like I said, this happens in the draft, and there's a lot of things that are going to happen in the draft.
yeah,
If he's told his agents, look, I want to be an Islander, and they go into the thing and he says he wants to be an Islander, I know you like to grab him, but it's why take a guy? We already had it happen, and I talked about it when they were going
yeah,
to pick him,
yeah.
Gauthier in
With Cutter
Philadelphia.
Gauthier, yeah, yeah,
And I said that when we were doing the draft, he doesn't want to be a flyer. He shouldn't be
yeah,
drafting that guy. So that was
yeah,
the thing. And I know
yeah.
he was the best available, but I think they tried to convince the guy, man, why he's a Pittsburgh guy. It's all because he hates Philadelphia that much. Wow, that is crazy, dude. That was
All
crazy.
right.
Anyway, that's another thing for another day.
Yeah, for another day. But
Yeah.
okay, so
So let's go with the other picks there.
22. I don't think
Yeah.
Philadelphia is going to stay there. I think they're going to move up. I really do.
It's going to be tough to move out in that spot. People are really, the perception is there's not much there on that late
I
first
got
spot.
you, but okay, so
It depends on where you want to move up to. If you
well,
want to move up to like 17 or 15 or something like that, you might
yeah.
be able to get away with it.
So if you do pick if you do select Aone, or if you do pick McQueen, or if you do pick O'Brien, or if you do pick Martin at 6, I think maybe you might want to move up to get Aitchison.
I don't think he's going to fall that far though.
Right.
He's
So
not getting past Pittsburgh.
yeah, okay. I
No,
was
he's not getting
trying.
past
I was
Pittsburgh.
I was
You do
trying.
not want him to have. You don't want Pittsburgh to
I
have
know
him
I
either.
was trying. I know. See, I was trying
He's
because I
not
know they
getting past Pittsburgh. There's no
right,
way about that. No
right,
way.
right, right.
So you'd
Okay.
have to try to trade up with Pittsburgh to get it, and I don't
Yeah,
think you
well.
can get up that
Hey,
high.
I can dream. I can dream, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I
All right.
know.
So now the second to last pick in the first round, Philadelphia has
So the 22, if they stay there.
the 31st.
Oh, we haven't talked about the 22, but the
Oh,
31st.
okay,
Okay.
22. Yeah, I'm sorry. No.
20. Okay. Personally, if it's me, now I'm going to ask you actually, because you're more of a Philadelphia Flyer guy than like as
Well,
far as insider is concerned, nor knowledgeable because it's the one that your team and all that. What do you think about those two Russian goaltenders? What kind of a shot do they got to improve?
I do like them, but I personally feel that you're gonna see either Aaliyah Newenswander or Ravens Bergen be the first two goalies to go.
No, but I mean your Russian goaltenders in Philadelphia,
Oh,
Fedotov.
Fedotov and Kozlov. Well,
Yeah,
Kozlov has gone back to the KHL,
so that's out.
right? So we're rolling with Erson and Fedotov.
Okay, so here's my philosophy. Most of these guys here are either most of these guys in these spots are either boom or bust or probably middle six. You might get lucky and they'll go higher than that I've known, that I can tell. This might be the only time, not only time, but Joshua Ravensbergen, from all accounts I've heard, has a really, really, really good chance to be a number one. And if you told me to choose a tweener 2-3 or a boomer bust, or take my shot at a number one goaltender, especially if I'm Philadelphia, who, you know how it's been in Philadelphia with goaltenders, I think I'm
Or
taking
lack of
Joshua.
goaltenders in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think I'm taking Joshua Ravensberg. Uh, I think I'm taking a shot at it in what has been considered a weaker draft. Now, when I say a weaker draft, like you said, it doesn't mean that these players are not going to be NHL capable players. This doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean that it's there. The likelihood of picking up a top six down here is pretty slim.
Yeah.
You know, so if I'm looking for the player that's going to give me the greatest value, if Ravensbergen even turns into a 1B or a 1A, I think you're getting greater value for a Philadelphia Flyers team that really doesn't has it has really I think would need to want to solidify their goaltending not in the future and for now at the same time. They don't want to. I don't think Philadelphia Flyers want to go have any more talk anymore about this goaltender stuff. You know what I mean? Like once
I
they're good,
so
once they're
agree.
really good, the
Yeah.
last thing the Philadelphia Flyers want is to be really good and be shut down because their goaltending hasn't been good enough again. So
Hello.
I just think that from everything I've heard, I like Joshua Ravensberger. Now, if they don't go that direction, I've heard a lot of great things about a lot of guys. I mean, if Lyndon Lakovich is still there, I really love him, but I don't think he will be. And there's one guy, he's but he's on the only thing is the tough part is he's on the smaller side, and I think Philly's just got too many small players right now. But the one of the scouts that I really, really respect keeps talking about that Cullen Potter guy over and over and over again. Just saying he's going to be the surprise of the late drafts, late picks in the draft. So I'm just throwing out there. I'm not saying that Philly, but if you had me choose between, you know, a smaller guy when Philadelphia is really kind of small on the top,
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
number one possible goaltender, I'm probably going with Joshua Ravensbergen. But you probably have talked to a lot of these kids more. Talked to you know, you've been more involved with this prospect stuff. So what do you think?
So we did speak to Lakovic. We did speak
Okay.
to Lakovic. Great player. I really think he's going to go in the first round. I don't necessarily think he might be available at 22.
I don't think so either.
I don't think he's going to be available at 22. Another name that I'm kind of tossing around is Rumbach.
Yep.
Jacob Rumbach. I really
Yep.
like this kid. He's another Prospect Watch alum that we interviewed him as well too. And
Mhm.
this this uh, this kid has got all the tools. He has
Mhm.
got all the tools. I think he would be another way to chip away at that Philadelphia Flyers, need up the middle, right? Um, but I also agree with what you're saying too, Perlo. Only and we did speak to Ravensbergen, and we also spoke to the other goalie that I would much rather have a Leah Neuenswander.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I like him better in that slot. I think
Mm.
I think his game doesn't need to be. It still needs some work. He needs work on his glove hand, and he needs work. You know what I mean? To down in the butterfly and stuff like that. And if he's going to decide to go to the butterfly or not, or he needs a little coaching on that side. You know what I mean? But I think his game is a little bit more polished than Ravensbergen's game is, and I
Oh yeah.
think. But I also think too that both goalies are going to need time down in the AHL.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, you're not going to see these guys, even if they're picked in the first round. You're not going to see them play right away. Okay, they need that seasoning, but I I just I
Probably
just
3, 4, 5 years away. Maybe both.
yeah, but I give the nod a little bit more to Aaliyah than I do to Josh
Okay.
on the
Well, what
goalie
about
side.
skaters though? Oh,
Um,
you already mentioned the skaters.
yeah, Rombach I think would be good. Even Malcolm Spence might be a good name to throw in there as well.
Spence, yeah, I like him too. Yeah,
Yep.
that was another one I was looking at. Spence.
Yep.
Yeah,
Lyndon Lakovic would be another great pick for Philadelphia there. I think that would be an amazing
if they get him,
steal.
yeah,
That would be a
still,
steal for them if they could get him at 22.
I think so. I think so too. I don't think he's going to make it there. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't either.
I have heard. I have heard for some reason that Bear has been falling down the draft.
I wouldn't mind taking Carter Bear.
Yeah, I've heard for some reason. I don't know why, but he's been falling down. I don't know if he had some injury issues or something, because I know like early in the season he was like talking top 10, no problems, and then every time I go to look at him, he's like falling down, falling down, falling down. So I don't know why
We
that
spoke
is.
to him. Carter Bear was another player that we spoke to as
Mm,
well, and
yeah.
another driven player. I think it would be. Uh, we posted out a show tonight on Prospect Watch with a very special guest from Sullivan Hockey, Mr. Bill Sullivan, and he coached some of these players that are going to be drafted, and he
Okay.
was able to give me some of the insight on some of these players and how he was able to help these guys and get them to the point now where he's going to be able to proudly say, hey, graduation day for his players. You know what I'm saying, right?
Right.
So by the way, hop on over to Sullivan Hockey or sullyhockey.com and check him out, man. He's teaching the guys the right things, man. He's doing it the right way, and he's a consummate professional, and was an honor to speak to him on the show. So check him out. All right, so I think we got 22 covered. What do you think about
Yeah.
31?
All right. This is another one. A couple. There's like three scouts that I really pay attention to because they seem to be accurate all the time.
Yep.
And all of them like this player at varying degrees, but one of them likes them, um, really likes him, and would actually pick him way higher than Philadelphia would be able to get him here, and that's Bill Zonin.
Okay.
That's They say that they just love his attitude.
Yeah.
He's like one of those guys that'll just find a way. He's one of those find a way guys. He's smart enough that he can vary his game. He can play both right and left equally as well, which is really important, which is really nice to have. And he's just a smart player, but his physical tools are not are average to above average, depending on which tools you're talking about. But he's the kind of guy he's a smart player that's willing to do anything. And I think in these spots, that kind of attitude is great to have. I mean,
Agreed.
just about, willing to do any. That's kind of was the Philadelphia way too, right? Like
Exactly.
that's what those old. That's what when people say, oh, I want to get back to that old Philadelphia hockey. That was it.
Yeah.
These were players who were
Yeah.
willing to do anything to
Grinders.
win. Not often, not sometimes not legal, but
But it was all good, right?
yeah, but they were willing to do. And Bob
Yeah.
Clark was like the king of that,
Exactly.
and that
Exactly.
he kind of exuded that energy all through the room. And Bill Zonin apparently is just like that. Now
I'm,
I've
I'm,
heard a lot of other people speak extremely high of that gas string kid playing
okay.
Moto.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah, I've heard like him go like a lot higher than they are right now.
I'm
So
gonna I'm gonna throw my name out here at you.
okay,
Okay. And this is I think is gonna be one of the steals of the draft. I
okay,
think he's gonna be one of the sleepers of the draft. because I don't
Okay.
think anybody's going to expect it because nobody's talking about him. At least I haven't seen or heard of anybody talking about him. Aiden
Yeah.
Park.
You're right. I haven't been hearing about him at all.
But
Aiden Park?
Aiden Park. Um,
Okay, that's going way off the board, I think. Is it?
I think it's way off the board, but he's in his draft year +1.
So
Okay.
he's a young forward.
Well, he's 19.
Oh, he's
So
19. He's an
he's
older
plus
forward.
one. He's +1 on his draft year.
So he didn't get drafted last year.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
But let me tell you something. First of all, he's got it in his blood because I think his uncle played, right? Was a really
Okay.
good player, right? But this kid, when we interviewed him on Prospect Watch, I got to tell you something. We talked to a lot of kids, and this kid came right out and told us that he
Uh,
was not ready to be drafted last year,
okay.
that he didn't have his best year, and he was not ready to be drafted. You remember how we talked about this earlier, where guys reach that maturity level at different levels, at different times in their lives?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She might
I
be
think
catching that guy that wasn't just boomed in maturity right away.
what was immature at the time, but now gained that maturity
Is
and is
he
now ready to rock.
Asian? Asian? Is he half Asian?
I believe so. Yeah,
Aiden Park?
I believe
So
so.
he's what's his name? Played for Pittsburgh's son. Uh, yeah, I know. I know. I bet you it's him. He was like one of the first Asians to ever play hockey. I'll tell you in a second.
I don't know.
But
Yeah, I don't
continue
know.
continue talking. I'll
Yeah,
tell you who it
okay.
is.
But
Uh,
I think he's got the size, he's got the shot, he's had that extra year to fine tune his game to the point now where I think he is at a point now where he can be drafted, not just drafted, but be a good contributor on a team sooner rather than later because of his
okay.
age, because of his experience. I think you pick him up at 31, right? You start him off down in the Phantoms, get him rolling, right? And then see what you can do. See if you can bring him up, see how he works out in camp, see how things fly. You never know. He might make the team. He might fill that 3 line or 4th line player or whomever. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Right. Okay.
Okay. Did I jaw long enough or do I need to keep going?
No. I just find it interesting. I'm almost positive he is the son of Richard Park. He was born in South Korea, his father.
Okay.
He's the son of Richard Park. Now, it's amazing when you tell me that story because that's almost the exact story of his father.
Okay.
His father was a late blooming guy that came out of nowhere. Same sort of thing. I don't know if it was necessarily maturity or just recognition or whatever the case
Well,
may be.
when
But
when you got a guy that says that to you, that
yeah,
admits that to you, look,
yeah,
everybody on the planet that plays hockey, that wants to play hockey for a living,
hmm,
draft day is all. I mean, that's the culmination.
yeah,
That's when the dreams happen. That's when the magic words. You
yeah,
know, your name is called, and you get to walk up on stage and hold up that jersey and smile in front of everybody. Right? All
yeah,
that work, all that dedication, all that time gets put into that, and your name
yeah,
doesn't get called.
yeah.
And you got enough wherewithal and enough chutzpah to say that you weren't ready to be drafted, and you're glad you weren't drafted that year, and you're ready this year. And I think he's going to be drafted. And I would take him at 31 all day long. Are you listening, Danny? Hello, ring ring. Here it's
Okay,
me.
so I'm going to tell you something else. I went and looked on on Wikipedia. Richard Park did not put. I know he's married. He didn't put any of his family members on his Wikipedia. Didn't have to say what his children are or anything like that. If you look at Richard Park and you look at Aiden Park, you'll know that's his dad. No doubt about
Okay.
it. Okay.
Well, all right.
So, but here's the thing. That means that Richard Park did not want his name attached to his son. In other words, he didn't want his son to get the recognition from his name to be selected in the draft. He is purposely separating himself from that. That's a very character move. So that this his father, having a father that played in the NHL is a huge benefit. And so this kid, you say, okay, well, he was a little immature, that's why he wasn't ready, or whatever the case may be. But actually, for a 19-year-old kid to come out and say that, it's the exact opposite. This is a kid that's very mature. Most 19-year-olds,
yeah,
but even most 19-year-olds would never say what he said. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. So he's very mature. He's the exact opposite. He was just regular immature before.
Now,
but now he's actually woke up at 19. How many people woke up at 19? I can tell you, I didn't.
And a lot of people didn't. You know what I mean?
So I'd say he's very mature. Actually, yeah, that's pretty good. I got to keep him. I'm going to keep him. I hadn't heard about him, and like I said, that's why I always revert to you on this stuff, because you got more insight on these guys because you interview them and stuff.
Yeah, man.
And so I'll keep that in mind. If I can find a way to do it, I'll try to bring up that guy.
Okay.
And I'll say my buddy Steel is the one that brought that up. I'll keep him in mind.
This has been so awesome. I just wanted to get your take on the Zegras trade. I wanted to get your take on the first round picks the Philadelphia Flyers were going to be selecting. I think there's going to be a lot of players out there for the Philadelphia Flyers to select. Danny Briere is going to have a lot to pick from. And I'm just hoping that he is continuing to do his due diligence and continuing to make the selections that he's trying to make, because for the first time in a really long time, I think there's a huge amount of trust in this organization now in Philadelphia with the management that they now have in place with Keith Jones, with Danny Briere, and then with other guys that they brought in like John LeClaire, Patrick Sharp. You know what I mean? And this whole organization has completely done 180 degrees from what it was just a skosh 3 years ago. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily feel that the Flyers are going to be in contention next year, but I think they might be knocking on the door a lot more closer than what they were the last 2 years. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it seems to me that they have, well, first of all, it seems to me they have kind of patience now.
Yep.
It seems to me that they have a philosophy, but I mean,
a plan.
It's a bit of a plan. I mean, I'm a little with their building. I'm a little concerned that there's not too many like two-way guys coming up through that organization. It's very offensive orientated, but on the other hand, I understand because offense is one of the hardest things to find. So basically for me, you know what I see more than anything here? I don't see it. Like it used to be with the old regime, there was kind of like a level of conceit. And I don't see that so much now. I see people that are willing to go, you know what, we kind of made a mistake there. Or, they're willing, they're much more open-minded.
Yes.
I think now that would be the way to put it. They have more of an open mind to a plan. They're not afraid to adjust when they need to.
Exactly.
They're not afraid to go, you know what? Okay, maybe that didn't work out so well. Let's go this way.
Yeah.
And I would much rather see that than the old regime. It seemed like they were so afraid of being wrong that they ended up being more wrong.
All day long. I understand exactly what you're saying. Like they tried so hard to not be wrong that they ended up being wrong.
More wrong.
More wrong. Right. Exactly.
So yeah, I like that. I like that aspect of it now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, folks, I got to tell you what here, man. We got a great show here for you. We really appreciate you stopping in here and tuning in and checking us out. By the way, if you like what we do, please hit the like and subscribe. Perlo, why don't you tell the folks where we can find you and where we
Okay.
can get you and follow you and all that other great stuff, sir?
All right. Best thing to do is go to my Twitter. You can get everything that I do on there. I do a lot of things. So it's better to do that than say it on here. And that is Perlo's NHL POW at Perlo's NHLW. What you'll get there is my community page where you can become a community member. I'm going to be starting a Patreon soon. You can be part of that. You can also get the work I do with the ice guys on there, my YouTube videos. I have my own YouTube video
Yep.
that's coming on right now, and I'll probably be posting these videos on there. Also, on my Twitter, I send out a lot of when NHL is going. I send out a lot of pics. I got a lot of future stuff going on there, and I got a lot of takes on there that people seem to like to hate or love or whatever, like usual on social media. So, and don't get me wrong, I'm all with you. I'll
Yep.
get down in there and hate with you and love with you and everything like that, but I'll
That's
always
right,
respect
man.
you. And you can catch me on Spaces too. I like to go on Spaces on there, and I'll just randomly go live. And anytime you hear something that you disagree with or love about me or whatever, you come on. You can go live, whoever you are, at any time, and we can chat about it, and it's a lot of fun. So,
Awesome. Awesome.
Perlo's NHLPOW on Twitter.
Yeah, man. We'll have the links there in the description, and we'll have them here, rolling here on the show, so you'll be able to see where Perlo's links are and all that other great stuff. And Perlo, thank you very much, man, for hopping on here and talking Philadelphia Flyers hockey, man. I really appreciate you doing this and taking the time out of your busy day to do so. So thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate that. Thank you all very much for tuning in to the Hockey Writers Inc. This is episode number 196. How about that? Number 196.
Wow.
So we got it going on here, folks. There's no all season for us. By the way, a special announcement here. Check me out. We'll be doing the draft live with Draft Utopia on their channel. I'll be co-hosting over there with Draft Utopia, so be sure to check that out. We'll be running the NHL draft live as it's happening. So go on over there to check that out at draftutopia.com and then check them out on YouTube as well. We'll be doing both days here, Friday and Saturday, to be doing the draft live. So be sure to check that out. Also, hop on over to steelflyers.com/links/Hockey Writers Inc. to check out all the latest from the Hockey Writers Inc. and all the latest from Steel Flyers. We will catch you all on the next episode of the Hockey Writers Inc.